Hey guys, Katie Huller here with KidsCanReadAndWrite.com, and today I want to help you get your kids reading their first sentences. So let's talk about what they need to know and what you can do to make the process a little bit easier, especially if your kids have any type of memory or processing issues. So you'll know if they have memory or processing issues because they will sound out the same word over and over and over again, even if they've done it a million times. They will still have to sound it out part by part. Now, some kids just do that 3 or 4 times. Some kids do it 5, 10 times. Some kids do it 100 times. Some kids have to do that 1,000 times. So the first thing I want you to know is even if your kids know their letters and sounds, how to blend those sounds together to make words, even if they're really good at doing that, they might have to do that for a long time. They might have to blend those sounds together over and over and over again, even though they already did it. Even though you're thinking, you just read that word, right? It's whatever. Don't tell them what it is. Let them keep sounding it out until their brain gets it, because even though some brains will know it by the second line and just know it every time they see it after that, other brains need to figure it out time and time again, and I promise when the time is right, they will know it. But in the beginning, when you're first teaching your kids, especially if they had a hard time learning their letters and sounds and how to sound out words, don't expect this to be easy. It's going to be a challenge because they're reading a bunch of words, and all of the thinking that goes into that it's taxing their brains, right? And when they get to the end, if you're like, well, what was that sentence about? Now they have to remember all that struggle and what it actually meant. And that's really hard for kids who have memory and processing issues or who are just having to still work really hard to figure out the words. But that doesn't mean to stop letting them sound out words, and it doesn't mean rush them to fluency. What it does mean is that you are going to have to be patient. I know, it's hard, but take a deep breath. What I tell a lot of parents is pretend you're working with somebody else's child. Sometimes that makes it easier because you're less attached to the outcome. You can be calmer. You can be more patient. Try that, see if it helps you. Or imagine somebody's watching you work with your child. And think about how you would be if you knew someone were watching you, right? If you were on video camera and it was going to be displayed all over the world, would you still be as anxious with your child? Would you raise your voice in that same way? What would you do differently? So some of you, I'm sure, are super, super patient and you don't have these issues. But I know a lot of parents get anxious when their kids are struggling, and they don't mean to, but their voice gets a little higher, they get a little more tense, and the kids feel it. And what do you think it does to them? Makes them more tense. So take a deep breath, get ready for the ride, strap your seatbelt on because it's going to be a wild one. But let's go over how you can make it just a little bit easier. So if your child knows letters and sounds, shoo, got over that, right? And they can blend those letters and sounds together, shoo, got over that. Now it's time to start reading sentences. So you need to be really good about explaining what your kids are doing, first of all. And you want to tell them, oh, we can line up words in a special order and it makes a whole thought, and be really excited about it, right? And then tell them, now, remember how you were reading words when you were sounding them out for me? We're going to do that, but this time we're going to read a sentence. A sentence is a whole bunch of words put together to tell you something. So, are you ready for this wonderful thing called a sentence, and get them really excited about it? And then let them sound it out painfully slowly. Yes, let them do that. That's part of it. They're mapping each word as they sound it out. So you actually want them to sound it out. I mean, of course, if they know it, let them say it. But if these are the first sentences they've ever read, they probably don't know the words. So take your time. So show them how the first word in a sentence will start with a capital because he's the line leader. And the line leader gets that special badge. And so he's all excited. And then show them how there's a space between the words. And that's how we know when one word starts and ends, right? Because the space is here, then a new word starts and it ends when that next space comes. These are things you actually want to tell your child so they understand what they're looking at. They don't think it's all one big word and they're not confused about it. Also, tell them about that ending mark and how that's the stop sign, and tells them how to stop, tells them when the sentence is finished. So make sure they understand all of that, and also make sure they understand that writing is a code. And if they know their letters and sounds and the letters that work together to make new sounds, they know the code. And when you know the code, you can read. So today we're just looking at words that have the regular sounds, the regular 26 letters and sounds of the alphabet, not the tricks, the ones that get together to make new sounds. So their first sentences, if you're looking for a book for your kids to read or sentences for your kids to read, you can make up your own like I did, or you can look for a book that has words like these in it, where your child can actually sound them out. And the way you can tell is just make the regular sounds and see if it makes the word. If you're seeing a lot of words with like tricks in them, like OU saying ow, TH, SH, CH, and your kids aren't there yet, don't get those books, okay? Get the ones that have the CVC words and the VC words to start, because you want it to make sense. You want your child to be successful. And if you can't find any books, you can make up your own sentences. Just look at some CVC word charts. I have one for free in one of my videos. I'll try to put one in this one. I don't know when I'll get it there, but I'll try to get it there as soon as I can. And that way you'll have some. But you can just research it, whatever. Find some CVC words, put them in sentences, and you can read those with your child. Or if you want to join the Black Belt Reading Program, of course you'll find everything you need in those packets, including learning videos and all the rest for your child to watch to learn from. But anyway, here are some sentences that I made up for us to read today. So let's get to them. All right, so after you've explained about the spaces and you've explained it's a code and you've talked about those ending marks, now it's time to sound them out with your child. So have them start at the beginning, and you can use your finger or marker, whatever, to just kind of point where they should be and wait for them to make the sound. Just like I talked about in my other video with reading your first CVC words, make sure they are dragging the vowel into the next sound, right? So you want it to sound like it. You do not want space between these sounds. You do not want it. That's hard for kids to hear, especially hard if they have any kind of processing issues. So make sure they're dragging the vowel into the next sound. It, id, hid. So it can be this slow. That's how it should be when they're first reading. So then you say, what did it say so far? See if they remember. If they have memory issues or they're working so hard to sound it out, they just can't remember, they're going to need to go back and probably redo this word. But that's okay, because what you're trying to do is train them to remember what they've read so they don't have to constantly reread it. But it's a muscle they have to develop, right? It's a practice they have to get used to, because in their beginning mind, they finish that, they can put it away, get rid of it. Now they're on this word. But what we need them to understand is this all the way to here goes together. So tell them that. We're gonna see what the secret message is. Are you ready? And so you go back. If they need to, let them sound it out again. Don't tell it to them. Let their brain do it. It, id, hid. It hid. And notice how I go really slowly so they can see. Id, hid. So it hid. Now we're on this one. Drag that vowel. In. And then you can tell them when a letter is all by itself, make it strong. It's doing all the work by itself. So it is going to say its name. It's so strong from doing all the work on its own, it says its name. That makes it a lot easier to know that it says A. Oh, he's all by himself. He's going to say his name. A. And then make sure they're checking to see if that's a B or a D. Don't let them get in the bad habit of just guessing one. Tell them to check. If the back or bat is here, then say ba. If the daddy's face was first, then you say da. So this is the back, ba, ag. There's the girl's face. Ba-ag. She has her long hair curled under her chin. So if your kids are having trouble with their letters and sounds still, that's okay. Just remind them what they say and help them use them to sound out the words. If they have most of them, you're probably fine to do that. Now, if they're missing all of them, go back and practice your letters and sounds. But if they know most of them, they just get confused on maybe the D's and B's or maybe the G's, some of the tricky letters. They just have some here and there that get confused. This is a great time to go over them and just help them learn them. Now, they're going to have probably no idea what they read about when they get to the end, unless they have a really good memory and processing system. But probably you're not watching this if your kids have an easy time with it. So let's talk about what's probably going to happen if you're dealing with memory or processing issues. Probably you're going to get to the end and you're going to say, what was that sentence about? And they aren't going to have a clue. And you go, that's okay. We can read it again. It will keep telling us what it says. And then you go back and read it again. It, id, hid. And here's where I would say, hey, visualize that in your head. It hid. Can you picture something hiding? It hid. Make sure they know what these words mean. It hid in. In, so it's in something. Make sure they understand that. What was this word again? Oh yeah, that's the vowel saying its name. He's so strong, he did all the work himself. A, so what does it say so far? It, id, hid, in, a. What do you think it hid in? Do you remember? Ask them and see. Well, let's read it and see if you're right. Ag, bag. What did it hide in? And be excited. Ask your child, a bag. What do you think it was? Now's when you make it fun. It's not just a chore you're trying to get through. You want this to be like a game with your child. That's what makes kids want to do it when they're having fun with you. That's why I don't want you to get anxious or upset if they don't remember what they just read 1 second ago. If they have working memory issues, short-term memory issues, in one ear, out the other. Okay, you just need to understand that because they're not doing it on purpose. They literally can't remember. So when they can't remember, ease their anxiety, ease your anxiety too, by telling them, oh, just read it again. It's fine. Now, they may not like it because it's hard and they may not want to read it again, but that's where your attitude has to come in and you have to get them excited about it, right? And take away the anxiety so that they have fun doing it. So just go through it again until they can remember it. Now, let's say you finish that sentence, you've talked about it, and you move on to the next one. And you get here and you think they're going to know it because they just read it 500 times going through the first sentence. Well, surprise, they're probably not going to know it. Some kids will recognize it, but you really don't want to push that recognition because they're more guessing it than anything else. And what you don't want to have happen is when you see an I, it becomes it. Or when you see the word in with the capital I, it becomes it. You don't want them guessing. So don't push it. If they recognize it and say it on their own, great. As long as they're saying it correctly, great. Don't push it. Let them sound it out again and again and again until they recognize it. So let's say they go, it, good. Now see, what we don't want to have happen is they think, oh, it's the same. We don't want them just trying to know it magically. That's not reading, that's called guessing. Tell them, no, that's not how it works. If they say hid here, no, that's not how it works. We have to check the letters and see what it says. And then have them sound it out. As. See how that works? It tells you what it says. As. Make sure they're making snake sounds for the S and not Z sounds. I don't know what's going on, but I'm starting to get kids who are coming to me wanting to make S's Z's. I don't know if that's being taught or what, but make sure they know this is a snake. It says S, okay? Not a Z. Sometimes, yes, it sounds kind of like a Z, but the sound should be S, and then sometimes it slurs into the Z. But as, we want them to read it like that. Has. It, as, has, notice it's different from id. We don't want them saying this for this just because it starts the same and it's the same basic shape. We want them reading it, making these sounds. As. It has. What is this going to say? He's all by himself. What does a letter all by himself do? He gets strong and says what? His name. So we're going to say what? A, because that's the letter A. So it will say its name, A. All right, then we come to this. R should be r, not ER, IR, and UR say So don't have your kids say for R. Say r. And then drag that granny right into daddy's face. See him? He's going to climb up his ladder and fix a roof. So we get red. Now, have your kids picture this, okay? It has a red what? Ask them, see if they can predict it. And then read it and see if they were right. Have them read it. There's Granny. And then here's the girl's face. Egg. What does that say? Leg. So have them picture a red leg. Have them reread it and tell you what it said. If they don't remember, guess what? Time to read it again. Now, you can kind of help them in the beginning. If you go really slowly, kind of let them lead, but you just help as needed. But I really prefer you just let them do it and get used to doing it over and over and just like praise them, clap, have a great time doing it so they'll want to keep doing it. Remember, you can't be anxious. You can't be frustrated. You just have to take that deep breath and smile and have a great time. So it's really exciting. It's like watching your child learn to walk, because this is them learning to walk through words. And yes, they're going to fall down constantly and forget what they read, but that's part of the fun. It's like watching your child fall down and pop back up and try again. And it should be celebrated in the same way. So have a good time as you do this with them. So if you want, you can always go back. It hid in a bag, and then go to the next one. It has a red leg. It has a red leg. So what I like to do is tell the kids, okay, we're going to read it the slow way, then we're going to go back and read it the fast way. And so the slow way is sounding it out, each sound, and the fast way, what you're trying to get to, is where you can say, it has a red leg, the fast way. But that may take a while. Remember, if your child has memory and processing issues, it's going to take a while, okay? Or if they're just brand new to it, it's going to take a while. So relax, enjoy the show. All right, so here we go. We're ready for the third one. Start the same way. Doesn't matter that they've sounded it out 500 times by now. Don't worry, that's just the way it is. Let them sound it out again, because the more they sound it out, the sooner they're going to just know it. It, same thing, drag that vowel into that next sound. Is. What's that A gonna say when it's all by himself? Remind them, what does an A do when it's all by himself? He's strong. What's he gonna say? His name, okay? A, R, and make sure they check out which one this is. D for daddy. He's gonna walk up his ladder, climb up his ladder. Red. So then you can go back. What does it say so far? It is a red fox. A lot of kids have trouble with the X. Tell them it's X. So it's like a K and a S stuck together. X. You can practice that till they can do it. That usually helps them if you show them, oh, it's like a K and an S put together. X. And then see if they know what they read. Because remember, point 1 is to make sure they know these letters are telling them what the words say. Point 2 is to make sure they understand when they're reading a sentence, they're trying to hear a whole message. So you have to go back and say, so what did they just tell us? They said, it is a red fox. It is a red fox. And if they've never seen a fox, you can pull one up on Google or whatever and the images and show them a fox and show them, you know, what it looks like. And you might say, oh, it really looks orange, doesn't it? You know, whatever. But have a conversation. Help them learn. That's what this is all about. It's not about speed. It's not about being fluent. You don't need to say it 100 times so that they can just memorize it. That's not the point in teaching them to read. The point is not to memorize the words. It's to figure out the code that represents them. So you want to make sure that they're understanding the answers are right in front of their faces. And all they have to do is apply their knowledge to figure out the message that's hiding on the page. And that's what's exciting for the kids. So keep it exciting. Remember, this is big kids stuff. Tell them, wow, you're reading like the big kids. I'm so proud of you. What an amazing job you're doing sounding out the words. I love how you persevere and keep working at it. I love the discipline I see. You see, when you tell kids the things you love about them, guess what? That's what they want to continue doing. So praise your kids. Let them have fun doing it. Let them just bask in the glory of your praise. All right, we're going to read one more. So here we go. Now, if they say it, when they get to this, you have to remind them, oh no, remember this was it. See how I sounded it out so they could see what it said? This is it. This doesn't have the T with it. This is a letter all by himself getting so strong. What will he say? He'll say his name. So this is I, because that's his name. It's an I. I, now we're going to sound this out. The ice cream's falling off. We're only going to say one because when we have doubles at the end, we only have to say it once. So I, will, not, pet, it. It. Do you see how I'm dragging the vowels into the next sound? Make sure your kids get good at doing that. That's what's going to help them speed up. So I will not, pet, it. And then go a little faster. See if they can read it the fast way. I will not pet it. Faster. I will not pet it. What did they tell us? I will not pet it. Make sure they understand that person who's talking will not pet what? The fox. All right, so remember that as you're doing your first sentences with your kids, the point is not to be fast. The point is not to sound like an adult already. They're kids just learning to read. The point is for them to figure out that there's a code and that if they make the sounds of the letters in the order that they're presented, they're going to figure out the secret code. They're going to know what is being said on the page. That's what you want to get across to your kids. And some kids, if they have processing issues, are going to read slowly for a long time. And you don't have to keep them on 3-letter words just because they can't read it fluently yet. As soon as they're accurately reading and getting through the words fairly well, where they can get to the end of the sentence and tell you what the sentence said, you're ready to move on. Go on and start reading the words with blends and sentences with blends, and then start teaching them the tricks, which is when the fun really begins. So again, if you need materials, if you need something already put together for you, like done for you, to just guide your kids through the process in a very simple way so that you know exactly what to do and when to do it, let me know. You can look up Black Belt Reading. It's on the kidscanacademy.com website or the Kids Can Read and Write website. You can find that, and if you order that, you can just walk your kids right through the reading process at your own leisure, right? On your own timetable. So if they move quickly, you can move quickly. If they need to move slowly, you can move slowly. All the videos are there teaching you what you need to know about each new thing, and then you just watch the videos and then you complete the packet with your child. That's it. You'll see them learn to read and write as you go through it and complete all of the activities. So if you need that, remember, go to kidscanonlineacademy.com and look for Black Belt Reading, or you can go to kidscanreadandwrite.com and find it there. It's a little harder to find on that site, so if you have trouble, just contact me through either website. I'll help you figure it out. But I hope this helped today, guys. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm here to help you get your kids reading and writing, and I'm so excited that you joined me today. Thank you so much, and happy reading.